"You're safe now," Melania says gently. "This is the beginning of something better. I promise you." Emily's lip quivers as tears well in her eyes. "I thought no one cared," she whispers, her voice barely audible. Melania places a hand on Emily's shoulder, her gaze unwavering. "You're wrong about that. Someone always cares. But how did this moment come to be? Let's go back to where it all began." The streets of Washington, D.C. buzzed quietly under the golden glow of streetlights. Melania Trump sat in the back seat of her car, the faint light of her phone illuminating her thoughtful expression. The evening's charity event had left her reflective, filled with stories of children battling hardships, yet showing resilience beyond their years. Her car slowed at a red light, and her gaze drifted to the sidewalk. There, under the flicker of a failing street lamp, she saw a small figure huddled against the wall of a darkened storefront. "Stop the car," Melania said suddenly, her tone sharper than usual. Her driver hesitated. "Ma'am, is everything all right?" Melania's eyes didn't leave the figure. "Just stop the car." As the motorcade came to a halt, Melania opened the door and stepped out into the cool night air. Her heels clicked softly on the pavement as she approached the figure. A young girl curled up on the cold concrete, clutching a tattered backpack. A makeshift cardboard sign rested beside her, the scrawled words barely legible. "Hungry. Lost my mom. Please help." Melania knelt down, her movements slow and deliberate so as not to startle the child. "Hello," she said gently. "Are you all right?" The girl flinched, her wide eyes darting toward the tall men in suits standing nearby. Her small body trembled, either from the cold or from fear. Melania softened her tone, offering a reassuring smile. "You're safe. No one here will hurt you. What's your name?" The girl hesitated before whispering, "Emily." "Emily," Melania repeated, her voice warm and steady. "It's nice to meet you. Can you tell me why you're out here all alone?" Emily bit her lip, her small fingers gripping the hem of her hoodie. "My mom, she's gone. And I didn't want to stay where they put me. It wasn't good there." Melania's heart ached as Emily's story unfolded. She had been placed in an overcrowded foster home after her mother's passing. Feeling invisible and unwanted, she had run away, hoping to find her way back to the apartment she and her mother once called home. But when she arrived, strangers lived there, and Emily had been left wandering the streets with nowhere to go. "You must be freezing," Melania said, noticing Emily's reddened hands. "Come with me. Let's get you warm and figure out how to help you." Emily hesitated, glancing at the imposing men in suits. "Are they with you?" she asked nervously. Melania nodded. "Yes. They're here to make sure we're safe. But right now, my focus is on you. Let me help." The girl's gaze searched Melania's face, as if trying to decide whether to trust her. Finally, she nodded, clutching her backpack tightly as she allowed Melania to help her to her feet. The motorcade moved swiftly through the city, stopping at a boutique hotel that Melania often used for quiet meetings. As they entered the suite, the warmth and soft lighting provided an immediate contrast to the cold streets outside. Emily stood awkwardly near the door, her wide eyes scanning the luxurious room. Melania gestured toward the couch. "Sit wherever you like," she said. "You're safe now." Emily sat cautiously, still clutching her backpack. Melania handed her a blanket and a plate of spaghetti and meatballs, which Emily accepted with trembling hands. She ate in silence at first, but as the warmth of the food and the room settled in, her shoulders began to relax. As Emily ate, Melania made several phone calls. first to a trusted children's advocacy group, then to a social worker she had worked with during her Be Best initiative. Each call was purposeful, filled with the quiet urgency of someone determined to make things right. When she returned to Emily, the girl looked up with a shy smile. "Thank you," she murmured, "for the food and for stopping." Melania sat beside her, wrapping the blanket snugly around Emily's shoulders. "You don't need to thank me," she said softly. "Everyone deserves to feel safe and cared for. That includes you." Emily's eyes welled with tears. "I thought no one cared," she whispered. Melania placed a hand on Emily's shoulder, her voice steady but full of warmth. "You're wrong about that. Someone always cares. And now, we're going to make sure you're never alone again." The next morning, Emily woke to the smell of pancakes and syrup. Melania had arranged a quiet breakfast in the suite, and the girl's face lit up at the sight of the table. For the first time in days, Emily allowed herself to smile. "Do you like pancakes?" Melania asked as she poured syrup over Emily's plate. "They were my mom's favorite," Emily replied, her voice tinged with bittersweet nostalgia. "She used to make them on Sundays." Melania nodded, making a mental note to include Emily's memories in her plans for the girl's future. "Your mom sounds like she was a wonderful person," she said gently. "She was," Emily said, her voice trembling. I miss her so much." Melania reached out, taking Emily's hand. "It's okay to miss her, and it's okay to cry. You've been so strong, Emily. But now it's time for others to help you." Later that day, Grace, a representative from the advocacy group, arrived at the hotel. She knelt beside Emily, her voice warm and reassuring. "We're going to make sure you have a safe place to stay," she said. "You'll be with people who care about you." Emily clung to Melania's hand, her voice barely above a whisper. "Will I ever see you again?" Melania knelt to Emily's level, her hands resting gently on the girl's shoulders. "You're going to do amazing things, Emily," she said. "And if you ever need me, I'm just a phone call away." Months later, a handwritten letter arrived at Melania's office. It was from Emily. "Dear Mrs. Trump, thank you for saving me that night. You didn't just give me food and a warm place to sleep. You gave me hope. My foster family is so kind, and I'm even starting to like school again. Because of you, I feel like I can dream again. Love, Emily." Melania read the letter aloud to her husband, her eyes glistening with tears. Donald, sitting nearby, smiled softly. "See? You've always had a way of making people feel seen." Melania nodded. "Sometimes, the smallest actions make the biggest difference. Have you ever had a moment where you helped someone in need? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear it." This emotional journey shows how a single act of kindness can transform a life forever. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Story Dash for more inspiring stories.